Hey FYM mummies, this is Patricia. We'll start with our first video of the Holiday Hottie Transformational Challenge. We're going to do a lot of standing poses through these sequences because you will gain your most strength in standing poses. They are heating and warming, plus they are the easiest place to find flexibility, specifically if the hips are tight. Then if we're trying to do seated down poses on the floor, we won't be able to get the right tilt of the pelvis to optimize the value of that pose. So what we're going to do is start with a standing, wide-legged forward bend. So stand on your yoga mat, taking as much length as you can. The wider you go, you may feel less stable, but it will increase range of motion and freedom. So you can be a little more cautious if you know that your balance is a little vulnerable these days. But if you're wanting to go for a challenge, then you're going to take it a little bit wider. The feet are parallel, meaning that the point between the ankle and the second toe, if you draw a line here, those lines are parallel. So it's going to be like your big toes are just a little bit closer in and your heels are a little bit wider. For some of you, just standing parallel may feel like you're standing pigeon-toed. So you look down and you recognize, no, that's parallel. And what this does is it helps broaden the back of the sacrum and the hips and helps open that up so that you can move more freely. So the first thing we do is we set the foundation and take a deep breath. The second thing we do is we engage the muscles, we hug in. If we stretch alone, we will not retain most of that stretch. If we stretch with strengthening, we'll retain 40% more of the stretch if the muscle's engaged. So to engage the leg muscles, you're going to lift and spread your toes, and then ever so slightly hug the feet towards each other. They don't actually move, but you can feel how it engages the leg muscles and your inner thighs will tone towards each other. So we don't need to lock the knees, but we're just hugging straight in, just about 1 or 2% of your effort. We don't want to grip, we're still breathing, but we're hugging into ourselves, into the midline. With that strength in the inner thigh holding us steady, we're going to take our hands to our hips so that the index finger wraps around the hip crease, and then reach the hips back so that we can come into a forward bend, aiming for at least a tabletop position, where that the chest is parallel to the floor, the back is straight, the hips are reaching back, and the crown of the head is reaching towards out in front of you. And then inhale back up. So for a lot of people, you're going to feel it as either a glute stretch or a hamstring stretch, an inner thigh stretch. We're targeting the legs and the hips in this. To see it from the side, we would again take the hands to the hips, feet are parallel, wide stance. Hug the legs towards each other, engaging the muscle of the legs, and you can even engage the muscle of the thigh like you're going to pull your kneecap up to your hip. Bringing all that power into the pelvis, and then press the pelvis back as you bend forward, tabletop position. Here, don't let the elbows and the shoulders drop or the head drop. This takes away some of the stretch. Instead, you're going to stay strong in the back body, hugging the shoulders onto the back, extending the back of the neck, reaching the hips back, and if your hips will allow, you can go deeper into the pose. When you're ready to come out of it, hug the feet together again. Inhale, transition up with a straight spine so that you're not rounding the low back vertebrae, but instead you're hinging from the hip where your finger is. So that's it for our first tip. Thank you very much, FYM.